Hey guys, thanks for joining me back here on the Roomy Alliance. This time I'm taking a look at the 6 different classes we're going to have at launch. And instead of doing it in my own format, I decided to steal another article from somebody else because I think it's hilarious when Google translates things that it doesn't understand. That being said, this is an article from 2020, back in September it looks like. So we might have a slightly different balance patch than what they have, or some skills might be different, so keep that in mind. As always, make sure you guys hit the like and the subscribe button down at the bottom. You gotta hit both of them. Don't forget both of them. So, let me get into it. We have the first class, the Spearmaster, which is a tank and a melee DPS. Under the tank specialization, traditional tank, full coverage of damage reduction, slow blood loss, tank that nannies favorite milk, moonlight, great walls block magic skill greatly reduces the boss golden body, breaking it quickly and give the boss vulnerability to great gain to the team. Under the DPS spec, the output is stable. The battery life is strong. The powerful talent is controlled, and the dual wing talent has high mobility. You can choose the Dragon's Breath talent to break the fixed dual sword explosion, or Shaking Tiger tactics to continue output. Disadvantages: under tanking specialization, there is no recovery skill, which can only reduce damage and slow death. It needs continuous support from nurses, poor mobility, low adaptability to mobile boss battles. Limited number of taunts, only group taunts, and long hatred skills cooldown. Under the DPS spec, the power is short, the maneuverability is poor, and the double tassel control is less. You need to be familiar with boss skills, otherwise a flash will directly hit the boss and die, and the core buff Dragon Soul will look at the face. I know right now in our version, people are talking about the Spearmaster is basically roll your face across the keyboard. They gave it 2 stars out of 5 stars for difficulty, so it's pretty simple, and 3-star difficulty for tanking. I know in groups they really like the Spearmaster tanks because he does AoE taunting, and he can grip them to him, making it really easy for him to tear down trash. Next we have the Berserker. Advantage: under the tanking spec, it has high mobility, high operability, stacking shields, and can return blood. Belongs to the recovery flow tank, which can reduce the group's injury and has the ability to avoid death. It is suitable for standing stubs and mobile warfare. There are more mobs that can ridicule than Spearmaster, and there are more monsters to gather. They can be ridiculed alone. The upper limit of tank is higher than Spearmaster. Under the DPS spec, the burst is high, and none of the cirrus clouds can't solve it. If there is, there will be 2. The mobility is very high, and there is nothing that drunk driving can't catch up. The only job that can become a dog, running away. Under tank spec, the state is unstable, and the nanny loves the milk Spearmaster tank more. Under DPS spec, if the monster runs, the explosion shadow will blow up, and there will be a period of weakness after the outbreak period. As you can see, like I said just a minute ago, the nannies do love the Spearmaster more, but you can become a dog. So, I don't know what else you need to say about the Berserker. Do note that you should not go drunk driving under any circumstance, though. 3 out of 3 stars for tank and DPS difficulty. Next we have the Bard. This can be a milker and a ranged DPS. Under the milk specialization, it belongs to the group Auxiliary Milk. It has strong group lifting ability and can be absorbed by the shield. It is necessary for the whole AoE to brush blood. Under DPS spec, Fey is high. Output, nothing to say. The skill of falling snow into a monument can save a lot of damage and your life. This is you turning into an iceberg, which prevents you from dying once. Under the milk spec, it cannot cope with sudden lifting, and the single body treatment ability is not as good as the curse and the life. Under the DPS spec, you need to read the article. If the boss moves, it is not easy to hit and attempt skills. There's also short legs. So yeah, you have these skills that you have to activate in DPS spec to allow you to move, where other classes can just move. You have to activate this, and then there's a bunch of burst windows you gotta time correctly. Apparently 3 out of 5 stars for Milk, and a full 5-star difficulty on DPS. I don't think it's that hard. Honestly, this is what I played. It did take me a little bit of time to figure out the rotation, but in the end I got it, and it does massive DPS. Next we've got Spell Swords, which do melee and long range. Under the melee DPS spec, the burst is high, there is a sense of rhythm, invincible, free of control, and one word is wave. Under the long range DPS spec, it needs to be charged, which belongs to the turret. The most important thing is handsome. I mean, look at the guy, he's handsome. What can you say? You want to be a handsome character? Be Spell Sword. Do you think that with invincibility, you can be a boss? Without calculating the time, the invincible skill is the sudden death skill, and the illusion of UGN, I am invincible. So, this gets 5 stars for difficulty on melee, 3 stars difficulty on ranged. I guess there's some rotation in here that you can do and mess up pretty easily. I didn't play Spell Sword, I don't know. Next we got the Summoner, which is Milk and Remote DPS. Under the specialization of Milk, Psy Milk is a hot type treatment. And, Psy Ming. This is a Summoner Milking is a hot type treatment. And the single treatment is not weak, which is suitable for small teams. Under DPS specialization, it belongs to the category of Summoners, and can summon pets to fight. The DPS is not low, and the Big Phoenix is particularly cool. AoE damage is high in the outbreak, and the effect of clearing mobs is considerable. Under the Milk spec, you need to go back and forth to point teammates to hot, which is more tired, and the Milk team is a little hard. Under the DPS spec, pets are difficult to control in a boss battle with anti-injury skills. They may be injured by pets because they stop in time. The single body damage to the boss is not particularly strong, and the single body damage in cooldown is average, making the overall stamina after the explosion average. It says it's a very easy class to heal with, and stupid easy to DPS with. I guess you just click the buttons, put out your guys, and they AoE things, and you top the meters in AoE fights, but you're going to suck a little bit in single target. I don't know, I didn't play one. As a bard, I always beat them on DPS. They AoE a lot as well. Last, we got the Reaper, also known as the Curse Hidden. They do milking and melee DPS. Under the Milk specialization, the best choice for single milk tank. The single milk is strong and full of blood. A tsundere type group milk. The Lotus is there. Milk, do you like to eat or not? You can also share the damage to tank's dog chain. Curse the milk cannot die. Understand the 2 blood? DPS specializes, the upper limit is max when the light bursts. And what about overtaking in a curve? On the dot, the blood continues to drop, and there is still invisibility. You can't fight it. Hidden in the shadows, counting the dots on the prey, waiting for a blow to kill. Take the initiative to escape the battle and save your life. And you can also hide in the boss body. Disadvantages: under the Milk specialization, group lift. It does not exist. Cursing Yin is a self-harm type milk. The novice is careful to milk himself to death. DPS is weak in the early stage, so it depends on bursting lights to eat. 4 out of 5 stars for DPS and healing. As if you followed the game at all, you probably know that this is the most complicated class from what everybody says. I didn't know it did damage to itself when it healed. Maybe it doesn't in our version anymore. Maybe this is something they fixed between when this article came out. Not sure. Either way, I hope that helped you decide if you want to be a milker, a melee DPS, a range DPS, or a tank. Or maybe you just want to be a drunk driver. I don't know. If it didn't help you, well, sorry. Tough luck. You just got to play the classes and figure it out on your own. But either way, I hope you guys have a good one. Goodbye.